Leafs Talk, JD Bunkis, Justin Bourne, Sam McKee. If you're listening to this on Apple or Spotify, please subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, please bang the thumbs up. Really helps the show. You can follow us on Twitter at JD Bunkis, at JT Bourne, at Sam A. McKee. The Leafs hold on against the Florida Panthers. They're up 2-0. Nobody saw this coming. Not even the most optimistic person saw this coming. Sammy, how you feeling?
This is the second round, boys. Like I am a madman watching these games. If I didn't have to do this show, I promise you, I would have taken Lou Dog for a walk, no phone, last 3 minutes. Yeah. Like it's just, I don't enjoy the last bits of these games.
You're not equipped for this, eh?
No, it's horribly torturous in every moment of every single one of these games. And we're just talking about the second round. But I got to tell you, fellas, I know this is not the most groundbreaking take. That was a fabulous hockey game.
True.
That was an incredible playoff hockey game that had a little bit of everything, had some insanely bad reffing, had physicality, had great goals, had hatred. Like if you're a neutral and you just get to enjoy that game from the outside without the crippling stress of trying to watch the Leafs guide that over the line, that's one of the best games I've seen all year in a great playoff season so far. But man, full credit to the Leafs. What a third period by them to respond immediately. The biggest goal of Mitch Marner's career. But man, what a game. So what a game.
I don't think people understand how hard it is to get the details of defensive coverage right and the speed that game is happening at. And for everyone to consistently on both sides of the puck be in the right spots, but be working hard, fighting for every inch. There's puck battles all over the place. That, I know it ends up 4-3, but that is an elite defensive battle, that hockey game, and the Leafs can hang in those games now. And that's part of the many developments of this team is they didn't play the best game they played all season, but they took Florida's best punch, or at least a damn good Florida punch, and they can hang now.
That was the most impressive thing to me tonight, is that I think that's as good as Florida can play.
Might be.
Yeah.
And Toronto won. And it didn't feel fluky. Like if you're looking at this, shot share, 5-on-5 expected goals, like all that different stuff, it ends up being in Florida's favor. But again, this is a team that is comfortable with letting you shoot. This is a team that has always been, all season long, been comfortable in game situations like this. Bourne, like you're bang on. They took Florida's best punch, and the entire game, they look like they belong.
Yeah. I mean, Bunk, there's so many things where it's like, we've laughed in the first round where it's like, yeah, the other team carried the expected goals and the shot attempts and the whatever. They blocked 41 hits. They blocked 26 shots. They did playoff stuff. And, you've got Matthews looking like, as you've joked in the past, Sam, like Jordan Stahl, Barkov nowhere to be seen by and large outside of a power play wrister. And the rest of the team is kind of doing it. Like there's still another gear from them offensively. So I think a lot of encouraging things. And hey, don't let Joseph Woll get hot. Don't let him get hot.
So yeah, the defensive stuff to me is, the center of the ice, like which used to be the Autobahn in years past with the Toronto Maple Leafs, is now the 401 at 4:00 on a Tuesday. Like there's just, there's no move, like you can't get there.
Yeah.
Like they were firing pucks around that last, I don't know how much time was left within the last 2 minutes when they pulled the goalie or whatever. And listen, they're firing shots, and as a fan, every shot that goes by the net, you pucker up a little bit, but none of it was really threatening. Like the one they really had, they scored on the one, and the save that Woll extended his toe were two of the ones that were really, really threatening. But outside of that, it was just wristers from the outside, hoping for a bounce, some of them hitting the end glass because of the coverage. Like the defensive work, like you said, Borny, in the defensive zone in the third period, it's just night and day. And I saw it was at PA Parento on your show today, Bunkis. Night and day. It is night and day. The defensive work is just absolute night and day from years past.
Yeah, they can battle with a team like the Florida Panthers. And that's the thing that I keep coming back to, is that you do not look overwhelmed. This was not a scrambly game. Like Borny, you said, like, don't let Joseph Woll get hot. I think Woll was good in this game. He came up with some crucial saves.
Yeah.
I thought he settled into it as the game went on, because to me, Yeah, maybe a little bit of projecting, but I thought that there was a little bit of worse play earlier in the game. And as it went on, he just started to look better and better and better. But to me, one of the major stories in this is that this wasn't a Joe Woll against the Edmonton Oilers on a Saturday night, bailing you out with, 12, 10 bell saves. This was the kind of game that you're supposed to play in front of a backup goaltender, and you just happen to have an elite one.
Yeah. I'm waiting on the final report from Sportlogic, but right now I got it at 10-8 for the Leafs. So not a ton. And Sam, your point about the Audubon odd man rushes 6-3 for the Leafs. Mm-hmm. So, I think it's a bit easier to goaltend in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say,
no doubt about it.
I just, I've been really, really falling in love with Craig Berube over these playoffs. Was up and down throughout the year in terms of some of the stuff that he did and some of the messaging and just kind of getting to know a coach. But you have to say that all the messaging all year long and the consistency and just the commitment to playing the way that he wants them to play, you're seeing the fruits of that labor. You are seeing what he has wanted all year long and what he used the regular season as a teaching ground to figure out how to play in these games. And this game looked a lot like a lot of the regular season games, just turned up the intensity 50 to 100%, right? Like it's just a more intense game, but they just played so well defensively. And this is what he preached all year. And now they're applying it in the biggest games. And I couldn't be more excited about it. Like I'm over the moon about that win tonight. That's the best win in this era of Leafs hockey. Like it really is.
Yeah. I think that you felt that in the crowd tonight.
Yes.
Right? Like there was
the crowd's been by a mile.
The crowd was unbelievable. But so I've been trying to put my finger on some of the reasoning for the way the crowd is. And to me, a lot of it in terms of soliciting opinions from a lot of people who go to these games and just from watching literally all of them from my entire life, I think a big part of it is just that there's this huge fan trauma of not really fully wanting to buy in, of tightening up and puckering up. And when you watch this team play this way, and you watch them respond multiple times in this hockey game, right? Like you guys are talking about the defensive stuff. To me, the most impressive thing in this game, like it was just the way that Toronto responded, where Florida goes up, Florida scores, Toronto's right back on their ass, giving it right back to them and never shrinking and never fading away from the fight. But the fans responded to that. It was almost as though something was unlocked with them tonight. Like they started to believe again. They started to feel optimistic again. They allowed themselves to start to hope again, rather than just sitting there tentatively feeling like the world will eventually fall apart. That is such a big difference with this team.
100% agree with that. I will say that I think there were some moments after Florida scores first, kind of a soft wrister that you don't necessarily think should beat Wall. There's some uneasiness in the building. The power play sputtering, and they put the second unit out there. And this guy, Max Pacioretty, with he's now turned into physical guy, sort of puck possession guy, not necessarily old Max Pacioretty, but old Max Pacioretty. I guess young Max Pacioretty. I'm kind of getting mixed up here, but young Max Pacioretty pops up in front of the net.
Is he young? Is he old? What is
I don't know, whatever.
Ageless?
Like I'm twisted in circles, boys. I'm still recovering from those last 2 minutes, but it's an all-world tip.
Yeah.
Between his legs, up over the shoulder. And, you get one, you settle the team down going into the intermission. You go 1 for 3 on the power play instead of 0 for 4. Or no, so you go, it 1 for 3 instead of 0 for 4? The power play feels better. I know the first unit didn't look great. It just looks better. You go into the end of the period, just feeling good about yourself. And how many good things can you say about Max Pacioretty? Can we say them all?
He puts the MP in MVP. He was so good, man.
That's pretty good.
Truly awesome.
And
it's fun to see.
And the guy is playing like a guy that knows he's got a second life here. And it's just, he was gone for he talked about before this series started, at the start of the playoffs, that he thought he was done multiple times, where he's I had multiple conversations about retiring. He's got a new lease on life. We obviously, you never know how long this will last for him, but right now he has been awesome. And this is a huge goal for the Leafs, fellas. I love him firing it in after it already goes in too, for good measure. Awesome game for Pacioretty. They moved him down a little bit later in the game, but huge goal by him.
Yeah, on the list of things that have been pleasant surprises, you look at the amount of small area passing the Leafs do to create
Yes.
space against this hard checking Florida team. That's something that we were critical of. Kip in particular on our show is critical of their inability to pass the puck in and around traffic, and Florida comes at you fast. So what do? You got to slip it by them. I mean, there's no better example of that than the Domi goal, where Lawton makes a nice play, a little touch to Riley, a little touch to Lorentz, a little touch to and this goal is another example of just moving it away from the defense. So, there are certain elements. They are the same team. Here's the play here. Watch the amount of little plays that have to happen. Little play kicked out to the wall, a flip, a little pass, and another pass. Like this.
So there's a couple things for me with Pacioretty. One is, in terms of the best adjustments of the postseason, I tweeted this during the game, but like Berube going to Pacioretty instead of Kampf, or going away from Robertson and sticking with it after a bad Pacioretty game, it's the adjustment of the postseason so far. Like, it's not the Oilers going to Calvin Pickard and just outscoring their problems every single night. It's this. Like, this has been the move of the postseason. He's got 6 points in his last 3 games. And they've all been quite impactful.
Yeah, including a series-winning goal with 4 minutes left against the Ottawa Senators when they were about to blow it again.
Exactly. And the thing that just really strikes me about him is a couple of things. One is the most obvious thing that was there all season, right? Just the fearlessness with engaging in the physical stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And even on that power play goal, he's the guy that gets in there. He's the guy that bumps somebody and helps create the turnover. Again, first guy in on the forecheck. How often is he that on his line, right? Just flying in there, making sure that he marks someone, finishing his check and creating some chaos. But to like your second point there, Bourne, this is the thing that actually encouraged me amongst on the highest on the list in terms of things that were really impressive about the Leafs tonight. Early on in the power play, you can see how Florida's aggression with their forwards is just taking away time and space from the Leafs up top. They want to have Marner up there. They want to be able to have him dance around a little bit, be able to filter pucks towards the net, be able to filter it over to Nylander, pass it over to Matthews, be able to move the puck around. But at times, it has moved quite slowly. And one of the adjustments that I thought they made as a unit, and why it started to get a little bit more dangerous as the game went on, and ultimately the second unit gets rewarded for it, is exactly what you're talking about. Those like short area passes, but also just quick decision-making, not holding on to the puck, not trying to overthink the play, just move it. Get it to the open man, move it quickly, and get your opportunities. And I thought that they started to do that a lot better tonight.
Yeah, a lot of that comes too from, establishing a shot at some point too, but you can take advantage of that aggression by trying to stretch them out a little bit, and they're going to chase you out to the boards, they're going to chase you up to the blue. There should be room in that bumper, but you look at it on film enough times, you just have to know you have no time. And you're right. They did make that change and start moving it a little bit quicker. And yeah, man, if they get the power play figured out, there's a few things that you think there's still, like I said, there's still more to come from the Leafs.
It is a brilliant strategy, though, by the Florida Panthers, who have played so many games against the Leafs and seen this power play so many times, where they know they don't want to be urgent at all. Like the Leafs power play, it's been better in the playoffs with the urgency, and like they've scored some quick ones against Ottawa, but at their core, they want to dust it off a little bit. They want to feel it. They want to snap it around. And they've really taken advantage of that through the first 2 games, where they're making them make quick decisions and the decisions aren't really working well. But you're right. They did adjust towards the, I think the last one, was it their last one?
They just started to get better. Like they just started to move the puck a lot more quickly. And it didn't feel as though Florida was able to press up on Marner against the boards, was able to just go out and cause those puck battles to be at the top of their blue line, with him in particular holding on to the puck.
Yeah. So I was really, really impressed with that second unit coming on quickly, getting that goal, helping Savvy out get that 1 for 3 up there. So it looks good on the stats. But
mentally, don't you guys just think, even though it wasn't the first unit,
matters.
Not having to answer questions about the power play being 0 for 9, which is what it would have been if they don't score, is again a lift for these guys. It's just the things that keep moving in the right direction for them in terms of the ghosty stuff, the things that pop up where you go, here we go again. It started to feel that way with the power play before that Pacioretty goal.
If you believe in ghosty stuff, that the guy wearing 67 is on fuego is gotta be something.
It's 100% something.
It's good for the our boy hockey Illuminati. It's good for the portal. Let's just say it's very good for the portal.
It's unbelievable for the portal.
Yes.
Like it's like he is what's the main key called? Oh God, I'm very blanking on this.
Yeah,
he's the master key. Like
Yes.
it's just he's the master key.
Yeah.
He's the keystone. Whatever you want to do, it's like for the portal, 67 being red hot and scoring these goals is massive. I want to go back though for a sec before we get into the other stuff, Borny, and ask you a question about the first goal that goes in against the Leafs, because I think that a lot of people will look at this and say, "Hey, this is a bit of a soft one from Joe Woll." I think it's a good shot, but I want to ask you in particular about Matthews on this play and what his responsibility is to be, because my understanding is that he's supposed to be in tighter on the guy he has the face-off with.
Yeah, it wasn't power play, was it? Was it 5-on-5?
Yeah, this is a power play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so not on a PK. No, a centerman would release the center and go to his spot. So not necessarily. I think, to be honest, guys, I think it's everyone's kind of where they're supposed to be. Just shoots it kind of through them there.
Yeah.
I don't no one to pin that one on. And is it that bad on Woll? What did you guys think?
That's a very in style shot right now. The low glove, hard snap. Listen, it's Barkov from the, middle of the circle. You'd like a save, but I mean, you're not going to kill him for it. He made some saves later in the game. Like I would have liked it. I thought it didn't. Here's what I'll say.
Thought the second one was worse.
I was definitely pretending to be very confident in Joseph Woll going into this game, be like, yeah, he's a good goalie, he's fine. But like in the back of my mind, be like, God, I wish Stolarz was starting tonight. I'll say that didn't help my confidence. Let's just say that.
Yeah, it's through a body, but ultimately he's got to be able to track that to me. Like you'd like a save there, but it's not a backbreaker. It's not one that I look at and go, oh my God, I can't believe he let that one in. I just thought that Matthews sort of ended up a little bit in no man's land. And I wondered if he was supposed to be marking 16, who ends up walking into it and getting a little bit too much space for me. Okay. So that ends up happening. Leafs end up scoring their power play goal in response, but it's probably time to highlight William Nylander, who now has 6 goals in the postseason for this team and who continues to just be the finisher. Guy was second in the NHL in goal scoring this season. And we've often talked about how, the Oilers stars, they elevate. The Oilers stars, they show up in these big moments. This is just another all-world finish from William Nylander where it's in tight, knows exactly what to do with it. And gave this team what I really do think was, I thought it was the biggest goal of the game.
Yeah, it's funny. By the way, he hacks that up to his stick and then hand eyes it like it's
so sick.
Elite talented play. Andy outskates Mikkola, who's going full tilt. Also great pass. But a lot of times we do this thing about how have the core 4 performed in the playoffs, and it's like I saw they put up the stat that he has 16 points in his last 10 playoff games. You may want to tease him out of the pack here a little bit as someone who he's
definitely
really elevated his game with consistency.
Definitely starting to separate himself.
He's going full Draisaitl right now. Like this is put the team on the back situation. And you have to give credit to Marner though tonight, boys. Like I don't think that line is particularly threatening offensively right now. And like I know the defenders will say that they're carrying their weight big time defensively, all the defensive zone, starts, but he does respond by shooting one off the post in the third period when it ends up being the winner. So like 23
is right where he should be again.
So Nylander has been really, really great. And he has clearly been the least best player in this series. And towards the end of the last series, scores 1 in game 6, 2 in game 1 tonight. I've loved his game. And I think this ties him now with McDavid for the playoff lead in points. So another amazing Nylander night.
Yeah. So that one there, you got Nyes on the forecheck. Matthews makes the quick play to get it back to the point. Nyes goes to the net after Marner whips it on. So they do get it themselves on the board. And I think that's important for them, just to see some numbers and kind of keep up with things offensively. That's obviously good news. At some point, I do want to talk about the Panthers and what they've got going.
Yeah. Let's get to that next. I just want to finish on the top line here because Marner does get this goal and it is a big one for him. He mentions in the post game that it's very special right after having his child. He pulls the Fred VanVleet, right?
Yeah.
Score a big bucket right after having your child.
Yeah.
I wonder what you guys think about this. I actually think that 23 and 16 were fairly solid tonight overall. Like Marner, even aside from the goal, And just Nyes to me is just like one of the most consistent players on the team. I know exactly what I'm going to get from him just about every single night. It's really 34. Like if you're circling one guy that's not giving you anything, I'm not putting them as a group. I'm just sort of putting it as one dude.
Yeah, I've got two thoughts on that. First is the Marner thing. What I really liked about him tonight, and I've often complained about him getting touches in the D zone going the wrong way. He didn't tonight. He had a couple times where he started to cut back and he'd burn a guy and he'd take it up and he went forward with it. And I was like, yes, like if he takes it forward, I'm in. I totally like it. You know, the Matthews joke that I made about the Stahl thing before, he is doing so many things that are good that are not scoring, but he can't not have any offensive impact. You know what I mean? Like he is blocking shots and he's holding Barkov down. I can find 10 plays in that game where I'm like, God, that doesn't happen without Matthews. So good, but there's just no offense, and it has to be offense.
He is out of this world defensively right now.
Yes.
Like it's just, it's really impressive how good Matthews is defensively, but like they don't pay a 13 schmil to be Philip Deneau. So at some point here, it's going to start entering the net for him. And he had a couple of looks tonight. I mean, the audacious through the leg attempt on his first or second shot, I was like, okay, we're doing that here or whatever. But like the one play, I don't know when it was, but like, was it the third period when they kind of had it was at the start of the third period where they had a pseudo 3-on-2 and he just like skates by the net and then tries to do a weird like wraparound shot into the pads. Like here, I think this is exactly what I'm talking about. If you're watching on Sportsnet Plus or YouTube,
he's trying to corral this.
But
one,
like, look
at right.
Like it's just, I don't know.
He just looks a little lost offensively.
It's not landing on it. Yeah, exactly.
He looks like he's pressing for his offense. And I actually thought that the biggest example of it tonight wasn't that play. It was the fact that he took that look at the empty net and he iced the puck in what was a brutal situation to shoot it because he actually had time and space. And I'm going, man, this guy's so horny just to have
wants
a goal.
One to go in.
Yes.
Yeah, that he's taking an extremely risky icing play, and good for Tavares because he won the draw right after, and then Benoit just immediately iced it again, where they lost the faceoff. But I thought that shot by Matthews in particular reeked of a guy who's like, I just need this to not be a thing. I need to be able to see a goal go in the column.
You know, there was a great example of how he's played for me was the one where he outskates and outmuscles Barkov along the wall, pushes down the lane towards the net and drives and tries to make a sauce to Marner, and it doesn't work out. And it's like, not many guys on the whole rink could do what he did to get into the spot he got into. But then he's just got no finisher, no end to the whole deal. And he hasn't in playoffs so far yet. So
he, like when
That's
he's going,
great. He's got no out pitch.
That's exactly it. He's setting it up. He's getting it to 2-2, and then he's
counts.
Throwing two balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's 3-2 count again.
he's Bowden Francis out there right now.
He's just sweating.
I like that play you pointed out there, Borny. It's such a great play where he muscles by on the sideboards. And when he's going well, he kind of makes it look like he's going to pass it over. And then he does that cheeky hard onto the ice where it just like it goes in all the time. And he's just not confident offensively. He definitely needs the proverbial puck off the ass into the net goal to kind of
okay. So that's the best point, Sam, is like the Leafs aren't where they are right now without him and the way he's played. However, if he wants to score goals for them, he needs to be a little bit of Matthew Nyes where he can be at the net front and fall on one and tip one in. When he had his 69 goal season, I want to say he tipped in like 17 pucks.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like that's okay. Go to that part of the rink a little bit here until you find a few.
Yeah.
But
so Borny,
I do want to point out though, just to finish off that, like he is dominating defensively. So you have to give him credit for that. Like he's out of this world defensively. So
his import to the team is obvious.
Yes.
There's just no question about it. He is doing a lot of positive things. This isn't like a rail on the guy, he's killing them segment. It's that if you're looking at things about this team that are encouraging, you've got all these boxes where it's like Nylander's flying for you. All of a sudden, the Domi line looks incredible. The blue line is holding up to be exactly what you expected it or dreamed that it could be after the trade deadline, when you looked at all the pieces on paper and went, oh, this might work, They lost their goaltender and they have the other guy who's a stud. And you always dreamed that, or you thought anyways, that at some point they were going to have to use both goalies. Like, everything is there for them.
Yeah.
It's simply, can you unlock 34 to a point where he's doing those defensive plays, but chipping in a goal at, like, what is every second night supposed to be some massive expectation for the guy that, again, is the number one goal scorer 5-on-5 since he entered his career, or he started his career? It's not. And if you think about that, it's like, my God, what is this team if all of a sudden Austin Matthews feels threatening and dangerous and that line's coming over the board and producing offense? Anyway, Bourne, you wanted to talk about the Panthers. I'm guessing you're going to be talking about the Marchand line.
100%. And Marchand in particular, like that is all they got so far. And that is the best Brad Marchand game you're going to get. If you want to talk about pitchers, he had his best stuff tonight. Touch the goalie, draw a penalty, kick out another guy's legs, score a goal, get an assist, talk after the whistles. That's everything Florida wanted to get from 63, and really effective. For them to still lose the Marchand game, I'm encouraged by that. But that line, there hasn't been an answer from the Leafs as of yet.
I thought he was I think pretty fair to say he was their best player tonight.
Unquestionably.
Yeah.
He's just he had a chance too late in the third.
Love Lawton, by the way.
Oh yeah. But he had a chance late in the third that the puck kind of came out to him in front of the net and he didn't quite get anything on it, kind of trickled off his stick. And I literally exclaimed, "Not him!" Like, out loud. I said, "Not him!" out loud. Like, he is in my head rent free. Like, this guy, the conditional second from Boston. It's like, did you really just let him finish his career a Bruin? Did you really have to do this? Like, thanks a lot. Like, thanks a lot, Sweens. You really had to do that, eh?
Buddy, both their deadline acquisition, like, Seth Jones has been awesome for them as well. Like, very, very good. Played, I think, the most minutes out of any defenseman that they had tonight. But that pickup is insanely good. And Wool's best save of the game came on Marchand. Like, huge, massive kick save. Yeah, the kick save that he made on Brad Marchand from a Brad Marchand sweet spot was probably the moment where I went, oh, right, Wool is really good.
Yeah. And to be honest, I love that it was not great, in relief and a little shaky early, and he kind of found it as this game went on. You got to feel like going into tomorrow's little like half skate they're going to do or whatever. I guess they're in Florida, maybe not.
Yeah.
But, he's on the plane feeling pretty confident, I would imagine, tonight.
That line, though, if you're the Panthers, like, if you look at the minute distribution for them, they're all at like 15, 16 minutes. They're still riding Barkov to the tune of 20 plus. Bourne, you think that there's maybe an adjustment to try to find them a little bit more ice, or is this just purely matchup dependent?
Sorry, who's only at 20 minutes?
No, 20 minutes is Barkov, right?
Okay.
They're still giving Barkov his 20.
Yeah.
But the line with Lundell, Listerinen, and Marchand is still 16. Sitting around 15, 16 with those guys. And I was a little curious that they didn't have that number a little bit higher given how they were going.
Yeah, it's a good point, Bunk. I don't know that those guys have that, right? Like, how you love certain guys at certain minutes, but you're not sure that if they could do it for 20 minutes or 22 minutes, they'd be all-stars. I'm not sure that they believe that those guys are those guys. But one thing I do like for the Leafs is the ice time distribution in Florida is not comforting if you're them. Like, Boqvist plays 5 minutes for them tonight. Schmidt plays 11 minutes. Jones is 27. They're kind of all over the map a little bit. And as the series goes on, 3 deep, playoff runs, and you wonder if there's some wear on that group on the other side.
It feels like they only trust 4D.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Can we continue Cats
it's pretty
talk
noticeable
here?
for a group that was just, sorry, what did you say? Max talk?
Cats talk, just continue Cats talk.
Yeah, no, Cats talk is very relevant to me right now. Like, to kind of close that point about that line, Bourne, you have the slot chances, right? You bring up the sports logic.
Yep.
How many of those slot chances were that line tonight?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone?
Yeah. Like, every single one of the slot chances that they had was that line. I genuinely can't remember a guy that wasn't one of those three getting an opportunity from in close, in tight like that.
It's crazy after all the talk after game one, guys. Like, did Sam Bennett play?
So that was what I was going to bring up. there's all the talk about retribution and how do you get back in this. You beat them, and he looks brutal. He's
-2 in 17 minutes.
17 minutes, not noticeable at all.
One shot.
Like even his physicality. The only thing I saw him do was he got in the little battle on the sideboards in on the power play, and he kind of tripped up somebody. It wasn't a penalty or anything, but outside of that, I barely noticed him. I think Kachuk's been brutal through 2 games. I think he was -2 again tonight, if I'm not mistaken. He was -2, 18-30. Like, they're not getting a lot from those 2 guys. I don't think that's going to continue, but you've got a couple brutal games from those guys, and you've taken it. You've got a brutal game from Tkachuk for 2. Obviously, Sam Bennett was really good in the first game, but you've taken advantage of those guys not being at their best. Like, sometimes in years past, guys aren't at their best, and it's a bad bounce, and a bad player scores a goal and you lose, and you've taken advantage of them not being at their best. But yeah, Sam Bennett, that's how you get back at him. You don't do anything dumb, and you beat them, and he looks bad. That's the ultimate revenge right there.
I'm glad you brought up this point, because I was thinking about it tonight, how I knew that they weren't going to go into this game and send somebody after Sam Bennett, right? Like, there's all these people. Frankly, I'm sorry, but you're really exposing yourself as a casual if you thought that Ryan Reeves was going to come in this hockey game.
I got one more DM about that. I was actually going to have
people said that.
What?
Yeah.
Buddy, I got at least 25 DMs.
You're not in the mud like the boys.
No,
you don't.
No, we're mud boys. Me and Bunk are mud boys.
You're the mud boys.
We're in the mud. I keep the DMs open. I respond to just like everybody. Yeah. I would say that the 2 most common but horrific and just like overused takes right now. One is there's like this small faction of people who are still pining for Nick Robertson, and they're like, take Holmberg out. And I don't know what they're watching, because Holmberg's been awesome for this team. Yeah. He's just consistently very, very good. He took a penalty tonight, but he's doing just everything they're asking of a player in that role to do, and he's doing it well. And I actually think that he is playing with a bit of an edge. But the other one that the Mud Boys are dealing with right now is that people wanted Ryan Reeves in this game, or they thought, hey, but don't you just put him out there and make a statement and have him grab someone? I was like, no. I didn't even want anybody to try to fight Sam Bennett. I thought that the crowd would go crazy if like Simone Benoit decided that, he was going to engage him, or Scott Lawton, or something like Domi, whatever, right? Like, somebody just tries to grab him and tries to fill him in. But to your point, Sam, the best thing for me is just like, you ignore it. You pull the full lion doesn't concern itself with the opinions of the sheep, and just big dog them in a way of, we're not worried about that. Because to me, part of the reason why Tkachuk is less noticeable, why Sam Bennett has a game like he has tonight where he's less noticeable, is because you're not engaging them in those scrums. You're not firing up their games. You're keeping them nice and cool, exactly what you want to be. You think Matthew Tkachuk is going to get intimidated by someone physically in the series, that like rabbit punches to him in scrums are going to knock him off his game? Or do you think that they are going to engage him more in the play? And I'm not trying to suggest that the guy isn't like bringing it or trying his damnedest, but you can't tell me that certain players don't get fueled by that type of physical, gritty, 100%. Ugly style of play, and that's exactly what the Panthers want. So one of the big successful markers for the Leafs tonight was your revenge was scoreboard. Your revenge was not, we really cross-checked them, and like none of that crap is going to play for you. You're not the Panthers. You're the Leafs.
Yeah.
But
totally.
Bunk, in years past, they would get twisted in knots by what the media was saying, what they should do, and Kadri'd elbow someone in the brain, or someone would do, and it's just like,
it's the coach. The coach doesn't let it happen.
It's a combination of experience and being through these wars, and a new coach. And and also the addition of guys like Tanev and even Carlo's been through it. I think it helps. Lorentz won a cup. Ekman Larsson won a cup. They're in the room, it's.
You mentioned Lorentz. I got a few rapid fire things, but the last big point, a slight call out from Berube of the third line today at morning skate. Wouldn't say full, but like mentioned that they need to be in the offensive zone a little bit more, get back to what they did against Ottawa. I thought they were brilliant tonight. I thought Lorentz in particular really stood out. Lawton if we can run the play where they scored the Domi goal, just the little plays made by 2 of the key guys on that line with Lorentz and Lawton. Like, it's obviously an incredible backhand pass by Lawton, but this little play by Lawton at center ice,
right there.
slash, win the puck, quick pass, and then this is a great play, but they just played way more in the offensive zone tonight. They were better in their matchup. Lorentz is physical. Like, I'm really happy that we don't have to have the conversation about, oh, if you lose this game and they're no good again, like, how do you got to break it up? Like, they had one sort of bad game that they ended up winning, and they go back out there and respond, and they have an awesome game. I thought they were really good tonight, and this line's been key for the Leafs. Great checking line.
100%. Yep. No, I got nothing to add to that, Sammy. It's a big answer for that group.
I got a little something, which is just, I just feel as though Max Domi has gotten better as the playoffs have gone on.
Yeah.
You watch him through the first couple of games,
Yes.
and it was genuine nightmare stuff. Like, yes, he scored the big overtime goal in game 2, and that was a massive moment for him, but he was unquestionably the player I feared the most on the ice for Toronto in every game up until game 6 against Ottawa. And through the first 2 games of the series, he's been a positive impact player. Like, I didn't think it was just that goal. I thought it was, even, again, if we go back to the power play goal, right, where it's the second unit, he's one of the 2 guys that's in on the forecheck. Bourne, you and I have talked about this as one of the points of frustration about his game is sometimes just not simplifying it, not getting the body in enough, trying to hold on to the puck, trying to create too much. And I feel like the thing that's just happened with Max is he, one, is not overwhelmed by these moments whatsoever. It seems like he just absolutely loves the tempo and the energy that's around these games. He's a guy that feeds off the crowd, loves the Toronto energy, but also that his game has just gone from, hey, I'm going to try to make something happen, to just let the game come to you.
And, you know, he's such a funny combination of like talented and feisty that, when, you know, these games have been emotional and he's motivated, I'm not gonna say he's not motivated other times, but like it has pushed him to provide the best version of himself. I've been the number one guy, man. I've been a doubter for sure, and full props. He's changed the things I didn't like. He's playing very well, and now he's a must keep in the lineup guy, where for me, I was hesitant.
Yeah, but this actually goes to the, like, why you were a good video coach. I don't think that this is like, some people be like, you were wrong about Max Domi. It's like, no, I was right. You know,
changed.
Most right. Yeah, exactly.
People can change.
Buddy, this isn't a situation where those Domi saucer passes through 3 guys are all of a sudden converting at this unbelievable clip. They're absent from his game right now.
He's
they're gone.
Skating. You take those things out and he's very effective. So it's been very encouraging on his front.
And that finish is what you pay him the money for, right? Like that's why you are the 5th highest paid forward, whatever is on the team. Like, you're that guy, because if you get out in transition, which we've always said he's definitely a good transition player, he's got the ability to finish there. And I loved the celebration, by the way. The Yager.
A little Yager salute, was it?
Yager salute. Yeah. And I don't think that was a coincidence, because I saw a photo of his dad out for dinner with Mario Lemieux, and like they've got a very big Pittsburgh connection there as a fan. I think that nod was due to the fact that his dad was
So at the Clark Gillies Foundation event every summer, Ty comes with Mario. They're like besties. So there's definitely some Penguin thing going on.
That's what I mean. Yeah. No, who's Ty Domi is best friends with everybody who is the best at sports.
Isn't he best friends with like Tom Brady too?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He got Tom Brady to skate.
Tom Brady comments on Max Domi's like Instagram posts. It's wild. Anyways,
by the way, did you guys see Ty Halliburton's dad, who is not allowed to go to basketball games anymore because he ran on the floor and yelled in the face of
Giannis was on him?
Which again has got to be the craziest thing ever. Like, if you told me there's 15 human beings on the planet that I don't want to run up on and get in their face, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, unquestionably on the list. The kid that grew up in the slums of Greece as like an immigrant who's 6'11" and built like he's made out of granite. So huge heat check moment from that dad. But Ty is the opposite of that dad.
Doesn't care.
Stone cold. Like,
but he
cares.
He doesn't. I know but it just doesn't look like he cares. Like, he just doesn't.
Yeah, no, he's just, man, Berube wants him on the bench.
Goes to great lengths to present to not be that dad.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Berube's like, we got a spot on the bench for you to calm it down.
I gotta tell you, McKee, about the Ty thing. I hate it.
Wow, you wish you would sally harder?
Yeah, your son just scored a big playoff
Oh, man.
goal for the team. You can't
There'll be
bigger
smile.
ones.
They'll be bigger.
You
What's
don't
that?
want to be this. I don't know. You want to be this. Here's the thing. If Ty, he's actually already going to be in the clip either way. So you're right. He's there. Like the camera pans to him.
He should
I
just
don't-
do like a grapes thumbs up to the camera.
Yeah. It's one of those things where I could see it. I could see him as a dad being like, I had my moment. I'm trying to give my son his. Like,
Listen,
I'm not,
Walt has his moment as a Kachuk too.
yeah, for sure. Like I kind of see both sides to it, right?
Yeah.
Like I get it. I don't think being enthusiastic for your kid is taking anything away from him, but I can also see that as an uber famous guy who knows Drake, Tom Brady, and Mario Lemieux are in his like close circle of friends.
He's just
That he's
stoic.
like, yeah, that he's just like, yeah, I'll keep it cool, keep it calm. I'm not going to try to draw attention. Plus, man, can you imagine what it's like for him at these games in terms of
oh
the
my
fans?
God.
Miserable.
Like, you guys have been to games with Kipper,
Yeah.
and he gets
Yeah.
mobbed. What do you
He
think it's
is
like for
mobbed.
Ty freaking Domi? Like, look
Yeah.
at it. He's in the full disguise there.
I'd
He's
be
got
wearing the
the-
concrete Halloween mask if I were him.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a rapid fire, but I'm gonna.
Yeah,
move
let's just
to
wrap it. You guys got
Uh,
anything else major
we-
you want to do?
Well, I know on the show we don't talk about the refs, but
I actually have
did-
the way to frame this question.
I didn't think we were gonna see a worse call
Yeah,
than
correct.
Max Domi on Marchand, but that embellishment call is the worst call in the history of hockey.
Just getting drilled between your scapula, face first into the glass.
I tried to look this up because but I'm dumb, so I couldn't. Like, I don't know. Is he a diver? Does Rodriguez have the rep? Like, is he lead the league in dives? Is he a dive guy? I don't know if he's got an embellishment record.
He
That's
got
the-
murdered right
that's
in
it.
front.
How is that embellishment? That's an insane call. The refs lost control for 8 minutes in this game where things just went absolutely squirrely and then it settled down a little bit. But that really started things. And, Maurice, I'm sure, will have something to say. But you saw him mouth on the bench. Embellishment? Yeah, like embellishment?
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? That was an insane call.
Yeah,
Of all
you framed
times
it
to make
exactly.
that call.
Yeah, you framed it exactly the way that I would, which is like, if you would have given me like, hey, will we see a worse penalty than the Max Domi penalty? The odds, and you would have even opened up that bet for me. I'd have been like, okay, cool. So I can bet on this. What's the maximum amount that I can bet on
Right.
this? And then for me to lose that bet a couple of periods later, I'm ruined.
What are they claiming that he did is embellishing?
Holding his face from it hurting against the glass.
He
His
literally
brain
has
is
like
coming out of his ears.
Yeah.
Like when Marge Simpson, where Homer accidentally shoots the makeup gun and it like goes whoosh on the wall. That's his face on the glass, and they're like embellishment, insane call. And they lost control for a while.
I was thinking it's like cartoons where it's like Wile E. Coyote runs into something and it has the imprint of his body like going
right.
through the other side because that's how hard he got hit and they took a penalty. So yeah,
5 on
Leafs,
5 after that.
Amazing.
yeah, Leafs absolutely got away with one there. I don't think that's a major, by the way.
No,
but
it's a 2. It's a solid
yeah,
2.
but that's a solid 2 with zero embellishment. Okay. Other
and
rapid fires.
also, I don't want to continue the conversations about the refs, but very, very funny that Wes McCauley came onto the ice as a liney in the third
What did I
period.
text you?
I was like, I don't remember what you texted me. What'd you text me? I'll
Oh
just look
God,
quickly.
Wes McCall. Yeah, you can read it.
It said Wes McCauley. No.
Because Wes McCauley to me is the worst
Bad for the
official
portal.
in all of hockey because he is just this is about me guy.
Yeah.
And for him to
he's the
step
show.
onto the ice where he's like, I'm here now. I went, oh my God, not this, not like this. There's going to be something that he does.
Call
and
a
he's going to be
5.
like, can I announce the call? He's like, you're the linesman. Shut up. It scared me. It definitely spooked me a little bit.
Just seeing him, I was like, he's a lineman. Like him not having the orange stripe. I was like, oh my God, thank God.
No,
No
huge.
stripe.
Dude, it was it's like if you know the NBA, it would have been like if Scott Foster just, oh my God, that's Scott Foster's music. And he just
He's just like-
emerged. in a basketball game. And you're like, we're trying to close out the series, and you brought that ref as the backup.
extender.
Yeah, like anybody else. Anybody else is fine. This should have just been fan referee over that to me. Like
David Ayers, ref.
neutral. Yeah, David Ayers. Okay, Bourne, you got a rapid fire
Nope.
topic we haven't hit? Okay,
Nope.
I got a couple of quick ones. A couple of noticeable moments tonight for Bobby McMahon, but still just leaving me wanting.
Oh, he almost scored.
Tonight.
He poked up that kind of a breakaway, came in flying, and low blocker ripper. He thought went in. See him take the glove off, the stick off the hand. Sorry, the hand off the stick because he thought it went in.
Thought it
Didn't go in, but he's been noticeable. But you need to have one enter the net here soon.
One rapid fire that'll tie to that. I read today that Florida over the last 2 years has allowed the most breakaways against of any team in the league. So it's one thing they do defensively, and the Leafs are a team that really exploits that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Other rapid fire, I need to comment once again on the crowd because they were incredible.
Stepped up.
Like they were unbelievable.
Yeah.
And I talked about this today again with PA Parento, where I was asking about playing in playoff series and what it's like when you have a good crowd versus a bad crowd, because one of the observations I have made, and I think a lot of people have made, I don't think it's like a particularly unique one, but it's that when that arena gets real quiet and when something bad happens and the fans get into, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening mode, you will never be able to convince me that it doesn't permeate. And PA reiterated where he's like, no, you absolutely feel that on the bench, and you feel it like the added enthusiasm when a stadium is going crazy. I talked to Brandon Belt, former Blue Jay, before last season about what the vibes were like at the Rogers Center when things were going poorly at the end of the season. And he was like, he had retired at this point, and he went, yeah, there's just no hiding it. It affects you as a player. You feel it. You hear the things.
Sorry, can you carry on?
Yeah, no, you can jump in.
So I played college hockey in, we used to go on the road to Wisconsin. They have a 15,000 seat arena, the Kohl Center. And we were the 10 seed playing the 1 seed Wisconsin. And we didn't start to believe we could beat them. And you had to win 2 or 3 until their crowd shut down. And all of a sudden it was so different from every other game I'd played in there. And you could feel the fear. And it's like, oh, you're like, we got them. You go out with a little pop because you're like, they're afraid now. And it does. It gives life to the other team.
Yeah. I will go to my grave believing, if I remember this game, if the Leafs were to go on a run, right? If they actually were to hang a banner and break this curse, this drought, whatever. No, just hear me out. I will remember this game. I will. And I will remember this game as genuinely one where I thought that the fans were actually a part of the win, that the way that they reacted, the way that they stayed loud, the way that they were engaged, the chance that they had throughout it, the fact that they never went away when Florida was scoring goals, to me gave Toronto a lift and didn't take anything away from them. And they actually deserve credit tonight. I don't know if booze was cheaper. I don't know if they what strategy worked.
Because you know what it was? They were slighted in the second period. The refs really, really pissed them off. And that got them really engaged. Like that the whole sequence where Holmberg gets blindsided. He does an insane flying dive. Like he got touched for sure, but it was an insane flying dive. He goes in. There's nothing that pisses off a fan base more than when the retaliation gets called. Like that's just triggering. Yeah. They're all on their feet. They're pissed off. Couple great kills. That gets everybody going, goalies going. It gets them on the front foot. But they were good all night. So credit to the crowd. Crowd talk. The Mud Boys talking crowd.
The Mud Boys.
Well, it just there's zero question that's the loudest that arena's ever been.
Yep.
I've gotten messages from multiple people, including my producer who produces Leafs games, and he's like, "Yeah, I've done them for 3 seasons. Done a lot of these playoff games. It's the loudest it's ever been. Best vibes by far." It's like that was very apparent. And my hope is, because I'm a dreamer with the fan stuff, that performance bleeds into the feeling around the city now a little bit more, that you see a few more people out in merch, that you see more people packed into bars, that it gets a little rowdier after the games, I want it to be fun.
Here's what I'll say, man. Win on Friday night. And there's going to be some conversations had that night. Let me tell you.
Guess what?
The takes will be flying.
You and I will be out with the rest of the Mud Boys.
We'll be in the mud, drinking mud.
Oh yeah, having a few pints of mud and firing some takes around if that was to be the case.
Yeah.
But God, are they ever in a great position?
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
All good, bud.
Okay, beautiful. Again, you can subscribe to this podcast. Please do it. If you watch it on YouTube and you enjoyed it, please leave a thumbs up and a comment. You can reach out anytime. Again, Sammy and I are in the mud, so DMs are open at JD Bunkis, at Sammy McKee. Borny, you can fire him his way. You just probably won't hear from him. But give him a follow anyways on Twitter and Instagram. He's the smartest of the three. We will see you. What day is it today? Oh, we'll see you Friday night. Yeah, we'll see you Friday night. See you then.